Welcome to Where Her Heart Speaks, a show designed to challenge and disrupt ineffective thoughts and behaviors to help you not only embody peace, joy, calm, and certainty, but also to help you live the life you've always dreamed of living. Where Her Heart Speaks with Coach Catherine begins now.
Hi there, it's Coach Catherine. Do you struggle to connect with or maybe stay in touch with your true authentic self? Or are you often overwhelmed with trauma responses? Yeah, it's time to face the facts. The fight or flight response is real and it has a huge impact on your life. This is why I've created an easy assessment to help you understand the state of your nervous system. Is it keeping you safe and stuck? Or is it allowing you to be your authentic self and thrive? If you are interested in learning more about your nervous system and how to experience more peace and calm in your life, don't wait any longer. I want to invite you to visit my website at www.catherinejames.com and take the assessment on the front page. You owe it to yourself to find out your truth today. The book that I live by says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits." I want to ask you, how are your words shaping your life? What are you creating as a result of your words? What are you inviting into your life based upon the words you use? Welcome and welcome back. I'm Catherine James, international speaker, best-selling author, trauma-informed coach, and your host for this show, Where Her Heart Speaks. I'm super excited because I realized we have hit our 6-month mark. And when I set out to do this, I didn't know how long it was going to last. I didn't know how long I would actually show up consistently. And here we are at 6 months, 6 months. And it required me to be very careful about words, the words I chose to use. So I want to say this week we are delving right in. And I want to encourage you to grab your pen and paper, share the link with someone you love, and hit the subscribe button if you've not already done so. But just be ready. Be ready to learn. Be ready to take it in. Be ready to change your life based upon this simple concept. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Growing up in the Baptist church, I have heard many sermons preached on this scripture. And as I sit and talk to you today, I'm reminded of a pastor who asked a question. How could something so small be so powerful? I mean, our tongue is almost one of the smallest units on our body, or is one of the smallest units on our body. How can something so small be so powerful? And I remember long after that message, I wondered the same thing. But I'll say to you, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Years later, I began to experience this statement as truth in my own life. I noticed that if I spoke something positive, I felt better. And oftentimes it would actually come to pass. And conversely, if I spoke something negative, I would start to worry. And ultimately, I would begin to feel bad. When we open our mouths, we are either speaking life or we are speaking death. And I just want to encourage you to pause for a moment and think about Not only that passage, but also about your words. Think about your words. As we talk today, I'd invite you to remain curious. Review some of your recent conversations with yourself, conversations with others, and just ponder on those questions. What are you shaping? What are you inviting? And what are you creating? This topic, words, came up or comes up with every single one of my clients. I would venture to say, just about for sure, every single one of my clients. And you may be asking, well, doesn't she work with high achieving corporate women, high performers? And I would answer, for the most part, yes. And in this situation, that has absolutely no bearing. I have had this conversation with clients who are heads of countries, clients who are in college, clients who are physicians or CEOs, and I have come to find that their title had absolutely no bearing when it comes to the words they choose. And as you will come to understand, most are so comfortable with their words, myself included. I would venture to say you included. Most people are so comfortable with their words that they don't stop to question the impact of their words. And why would you really when if as children, the children in your neighborhood, your childhood neighborhood, were like those in my childhood neighborhood, or if your mother was like mine, you learned that words didn't hurt, right? So if you learned that words didn't hurt, why would you stop to question your words? I remember growing up as a child, when someone said something hurtful, we were taught and would say, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Words will never hurt me. As an adult who has been through some things, like how many of you would beg to differ? How many of you know this is not true? How many of you have been deeply wounded by words? Here's the thing. The damage caused by sticks and stones, bruises, or break bones, those things can be seen. They can be treated until they are healed. But the damage of words, the hurt, the bruises, the broken feelings, hearts, or souls, they cannot be seen. And often they go untreated and they go unhealed. So I'm going to touch a bit on the impact of words from others. And then I'm going to spend a bit more time on the words we speak to ourselves. So words from other people can either lift us up or they can tear us down. Words from other people can either lift us up or they can tear us down. And I would invite you to look all over your life, all the way back when you were a child, the words from other people. One of the things that's very prominent for me are the words that were spoken to my life by teachers who I had in my elementary school years. The words of other people can either lift us up or tear us down. Now, a few weeks ago, I was attending a friend's birthday party when I was approached by a young lady who was present at a private event that I spoke at about 5 years ago. And as we passed each other at the party, we exchanged hugs, and she kind of grabbed me and paused, looked me in my eyes, and told me that I had said something to her at that event 5 years ago, which I can't remember. And she actually told me what I said, but I still don't remember. But I said something to her at that event 5 years ago that changed her life. And she wanted in that moment to let me know how grateful she was that I had said whatever it was that I said. Words can build you up, and they can tear you down. The words of other people can build you up, and they can tear you down. Now, according to Psych Central, there are numerous studies addressing the impact of words. There are studies that revealed how positive words can help test takers perform better. There were studies that showed how encouraging words could help athletes perform better. And conversely, there are also studies that revealed how negative words can cause problems with our memory. So much that people forgot things like their appointments or other obligations. There were studies that found that negative words from other people can cause physical and emotional changes. And I would add that negative words can cause or trigger trauma responses. I know in my case, hearing words like stupid or being told I wasn't smart enough were the driving forces of my desire to overachieve, the driving forces of my desire to perfect everything for the better part of my adult life. And I just want to remind you, as I mentioned trauma, that trauma is not what happens to you, but how your body responds to what happens to you. How you view your view of yourself and your view of others or the world alters as a result of what happened to you. That's trauma. So I pause to say that because I want to ensure that you do not think that trauma is an event. I want to ensure that you know trauma is not the event, but it is how your body responds to an event. So I know for me that it was words that created those behaviors. So we see here that words spoken by others can have a profound impact on our well-being. It can have a profound impact on our self-perception and overall life experiences, if we were just being honest. When children who are yet unresourceful are told things like, "You're just like your daddy," or "You can't do anything right," or "You get on my nerves," or "You're stupid," or "You were a mistake," or any other nasty things that adults may spew out, emotional pain is suffered. Self-esteem is lowered. Feelings of anger, frustration, or unworthiness can be experienced. And these things not only leave an imprint on the autonomic nervous system, but also, according to studies, how people process information and their perceptions are also affected. Now, what we know to be true from research and personal experience is that words hurt. And they can hurt for a very long time. This is true of words spoken by other people, words other people speak to us, and words we speak either consciously or unconsciously to ourselves. So I now return to the initial questions. What life are you shaping? What life are you creating? What life are you inviting with your words? Are you shaping, creating, or inviting a life of death or a life that is alive and vibrant? Just as the words of other people speak to us, just like the words that other people speak to us, can cause or build us up or tear us down. The words that we speak to ourselves can have either a negative or positive consequence. So it's no different because the words are coming from outside of us. The words that other people speak to us can have a negative or a positive consequence, just as the words that we speak to ourselves can have a negative or a positive consequence. Leadership expert Robin Sharma says the words you speak are powerful, especially the words you speak to yourself. The words you speak to yourself are powerful enough to create a life you love or a life wherein you are miserable. Our words create a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. Like we are either going to create a life that we love or a life that makes us feel miserable. And again, when we consistently speak positive and affirming words, we attract positive outcomes. But when we consistently speak negative and self-defeating words, we support or reinforce our limiting beliefs. We can find ourselves in a vicious cycle of trying to do better, but remaining stagnant and growing more and more frustrated. And I want to say that unfortunately, some people succumb to their negative self-talk. I was talking with my sister the other day, and she was sharing with me about a conversation she was having with a woman. And the woman she was speaking with is well over 60 years old. And as they talked about the various things going on in the woman's life, the woman said, "I can't do anything right." And when I heard my sister say this, my heart dropped. And I thought those words made it clear why she was in the situation that she was in. She had been speaking death over her life. She had been speaking death over her situations. And I will say those may not be your exact words. So I want to ask you, what are your words? Maybe you're saying you can't find the perfect job, or you'll never find the right guy, or you can't seem to save money. What are your words? So-and-so is always upset with you, or weight loss is hard, or you'll never be happy. What are your words? If we were on Zoom or live, I'd ask you to yell it out or type it in the chat. But since we're not, I want to invite you to write it down. Write down the words you speak to yourself. For many years, I told myself I would never be able to live without my corporate job. For many years, and as a result, that's how it felt. And I stayed in that job far longer than I believe I should have or needed to. If you know that you want more in life, you've been taking action but not making progress, you take one step forward and 3 steps backwards, you've got to examine the words you speak. You've got to ask yourself, what are you speaking into existence? Negative words, they don't only limit your progress, but they also affect you emotionally and physically. when working with my clients and I hear words like have to, need to, or can't, I pause right in the moment to address their words. Why? Because these words can create death. And I want to have you just think about it, or better yet, feel the energy associated with have to. Feel the energy associated with need to or can't. The energy leaves you feeling powerless or as though things are outside of your control. It also just feels like, ugh. I mean, have to or need to is hard. And it's as to say, if this does not happen, something horrible is going to happen. Like, feel the energy underneath that. And the same holds true for can't. It's as if your hands are tied when you say can't. Your hands are tied behind your back and you do not have the ability to do anything about it. Those two words, I can't, they feel exhausting and hopeless. And the other words you'll want to be mindful of are ED words, or words that ends with ED. Words such as stressed, frustrated, confused, embarrassed, disappointed, worried. ED words are also words that leave you feeling as though you have no control over how you feel or over the situation you're facing. All of these words feel heavy. All of these words keep you out of choice and they are disempowering. So to that, I want to simply encourage you to be more mindful of your words. Be more aware of your words. I believe that when you are more mindful and more aware, you can choose differently. I don't just believe it. I have witnessed it. I have witnessed it in my own life. I have witnessed it in the lives of hundreds of women that I've worked with. When you are more mindful, when you are more aware, you can choose differently. And choosing differently looks like changing your need tos and have tos to want to or get to. So instead of saying, I need to look for another job, you will say, I want to look for another job, or I get to look for another job. Feel the difference. Instead of saying, I'm frustrated or I am stressed, you're going to change your ED words to ing myself. So instead of saying I'm frustrated or stressed, you're going to say I am frustrating myself or I am stressing myself. Again, turning ED words into ing myself words. This puts you back in control. It says if I'm frustrating myself, then I can stop frustrating myself, right? If I'm stressing myself, then I also have the ability to stop stressing myself. You have the ability to change your state when you realize it is you who is creating the state. The same goes for can't. Instead of saying, I can't save money, say, I won't save money. The truth of the matter is there are very few things that we can't do. We may not have the skill set or the immediate skill set, but we definitely have the means to go and attain the skill set. So we must be truthful. We must call a spade and own our part. We aren't doing things because we can't do them. We're not doing things because we won't do them. That's the truth of the matter. Now, the reason why we won't, that's a whole nother topic that I'm going to save for another episode. But it's many times not that you can't. Most times, not that you can't, but that you won't. And again, when you step into owning your truth, that it's about you won't, you can now stand in your power and you get to choose. I either choose not to do it or I will choose to do it. Can't leaves me feeling as though I don't have a choice. Won't leaves me feeling as though I get to choose. So death and life are in the power of the tongue. The words we use to speak to others can either increase them or decrease them. The words we use to speak to ourselves can either increase us or decrease us. Over the next week, I want to encourage you to continue to be curious, continue to explore what you may be speaking into existence in your life. What are you speaking into existence? My prayer for you this week is that you will take this message to heart. I pray that you will no longer dismiss words as simply words, but that you will become aware of the impact of every word you speak, audibly or silently. That you will become aware that impact it could potentially have on your life and the lives of others. I pray that you will choose words that are life-producing, life-giving, words that elevate, and words that increase yourself and others. As I close, I want to remind you that in this life, we get to choose. So choose to listen from the place where your heart speaks and choose to live a sensational life. Peace and blessings.
Thank you for listening to Where Her Heart Speaks with Coach Catherine, where Catherine aims to challenge and disrupt ineffective thoughts and behaviors to help you not only embody peace, joy, calm, and certainty, but also help you live the life you've always dreamed of living. Follow Catherine on Facebook and Instagram at I Am Catherine James and visit www.catherinejames.com. Remember, to live the life of your dreams, you must go within and return to the place where your heart speaks.